Hello, everybody. I am doing something different this week with the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast, and I'm doing it live. So, hi. We will also, of course, have this posted later on as its own podcast. But yeah, part of it was I just didn't get anything recorded. Truth be known. But I also thought, well, gosh, it would be fun to do it live. It has a different energy. I've done a million Facebook Lives in my lifetime. And I'm probably not even really exaggerating. I've done so many: Facebook, Instagram, whatever you want to call it, YouTube, because I'm live on all places right now. And I love being able to interact with people in real time. And yeah, I just thought I would do something different. And part of it is also, I wanted to chat this week on this episode about change and transition. And there is so much change going on in the world right now. And I've had so many conversations with people, a lot of different people who are going through a lot of stuff and having a lot of change and a lot of discomfort and weirdness and financial stuff going on and business stuff going on and body stuff going on. And it is a very interesting time to be alive. And that was also part of the feeling of having this be a live video, is having just energetically more interaction with people that are watching it live. So hi, everybody who's here watching. Thanks for being here. And let's talk a little bit about, what do you do in times of change? And of course, this podcast, the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast, is it's an exploration of the ecosystem, like nurturing the ecosystem of business, body, and living. And living being an energy that is not life. Life is a sentence with the period at the end. Life is like the thing that you have goals for, and you accomplish the goals, you achieve the goals, and then it's time to die. Living is this continuous, ever expanding, ever increasing space of creating more, having more joy, having more interaction with the world around us, and creating a different world, a different world. And it's time for that. I think that's probably what a lot of people are aware of that are in a big transition right now, or just even aware of all the change in the world. It's like, it's really time for something different. And so I wanted to give some tools and some conversations and energies that could contribute to that in some way. I personally have been very in it the past 10 days or so. Just so many like structures that are just crumbling out of my own world. And when that occurs and we let go of, it's like, how we kind of like used to do things, it doesn't really work anymore in the way that it did. It never really did work for most of us. Functioning like the rest of the world functions is not something, if you're listening to this podcast, that's probably not something that you're interested in. Because I definitely do not have conversations about that. How to be like everybody else. That's not what you're going to get here. And it can be one of the most courageous things that we choose, one of the most dynamically challenging things that we choose, to be, different in the world and have a different life, a different living, a different reality, and to not function the way the rest of the world functions. And when that's our choice and that's our commitment, and I think for a lot of people that are seekers, it's kind of like, you can't even, for me, it's like, I can't function the way the rest of the world functions. And so it's like not even available in my world. As much as I've tried, as much as I've, studied how that happens, how it works and all of that, it's like, I can't. And that part of me that used to be able to kind of make that work is breaking more and more every day. And I would say one of the big pieces that goes along with that is this idea of breaking down structures. Structures are something that we put in place energetically to like scaffold, to scaffold something, like to create this, scaffolding that holds things up that wouldn't necessarily hold themselves up on their own. And so we create this scaffolding, these structures, these rigid ways of doing things and being in the world. We create a rigidity to hold things in place so that, the shit doesn't hit the fan, basically. And yet, if you are somebody who is a seeker in the world, you have far more of an energetic way of functioning. And so you're aware of all these things, all the lies that don't allow those things to work, and all the truths underneath the lies, of structure, the lies of these, kind of like the scaffolding that we use to hold stuff up that isn't going to hold itself up if we let it go. And so we try, like we use our intelligence, our awareness, our brilliance, our neurodiversity. And I did a whole series on neurodiversity back in March. I did a bunch of different episodes in a row about neurodiversity with business and money and bodies and a bunch of different things. So you can check back on my podcast for those conversations in greater depth. And the neurodiversity is such a gift for people because it's how we are different neurologically. It's literally, obviously, neurologically diverse. Like we function differently in our nervous system, with our bodies, how we bring ourselves to the world. We function in a different way. And so none of those things that are like the rigidity of the world, they don't make sense to people that have some element of neurological diversity and energetic diversity, which really is, I would say, most of the seekers of the world kind of fall into that category in some way. And so you see what's actually like, people that are neurodiverse have this incredible capacity to see what is energetically, to see things as they are and not as people say that they are. And a lot of times what occurs is we pick up on all of these incongruities and inconsistencies in the world. It's like the Truman Show. If you haven't seen that movie, go see it. It's like, everybody going, oh yeah, this is how it is here inside of the bubble, and you're Truman and you're going, wait a minute, that doesn't, like this doesn't make any sense to me. Why can't I get this? And people that are seekers that have that neurological diversity, one of the tendencies of people like us, I'll just say, is a very dynamic propensity toward self-judgment. So we have this, like, it's like when things don't match out there, because there's a lot of people lying about a lot of things and a lot of people trying to force a lot of things into existence that will never be. And we have an awareness of that. And the first and easiest way to go is to make ourselves wrong, basically, and to be like, oh, I must be just off in how I perceive or how I think, or, I must just be off with this. And so that's the easiest way to kind of, excuse me. That's the easiest way to create some sense of explanation that makes sense to the inconsistencies that we perceive in the world, is to just go, oh, well, I must just be wrong. And then that kind of explains it all, And yet that never really gets us anywhere, because we continually just go, oh, well, then I must be wrong here. I must be wrong here. This doesn't make sense. I must be wrong here. I must be wrong here. And every time you make yourself wrong, every time you judge yourself, you debilitate yourself away from the capacities that you have to create something different, and to create in a different way, and to be a different energy in the world. And because we busy ourselves with like trying to figure out all these things that are going on, and we don't really have this sense of we just really get very occupied with the trying to make sense of it all, of a world that just doesn't make sense, and trying to figure out how we fit and how to make our lives work, how to make your business work, how to make your money work, how to make your body work, how to make living work. And I know for a lot of people, and this is even, I've been doing this work for a long time, and I really started when I was, 25 or so, I got a degree, a master's degree in social work. Even my undergraduate when I was in college was a very different degree in a very different discipline, with a very different perspective on really considering people. I got an undergraduate degree in design. It was called Design and Environmental Analysis. So like a interior planning, interior architecture, facility planning, and design. But it was this really cool program where we studied the interaction, like it was called human environment relations, or like environmental psychology. So studying how people interact with their environment, and then getting a sense of the pragmatics of that, taking that information into the design of buildings and facilities that actually really consider the users, and and create spaces and facilities for people that actually make their lives easier and make it easier to function. And because historically architecture had been so much more about beauty than about function. And there's a whole like form over function, form versus function conversation in the world of architecture. And so this, was really this consideration of people and how they like, what's true, like what's true for people. Let's look at what's true. Let's look at what occurs. Let's look at how people function. And then let's create things that accommodate that, and that facilitate that, and that make people's lives easier. And so anyway, a little bit of a tangent there, but it was, for me, it's like, I've always been so curious to know how people work, how people function from a pragmatic point of view, not from the point of view of how they should so that they can fit, but actually from a point of view of how they do tick, which is a lot of what goes on in the world these days around, like some curiosities and stuff that people have around diversity, is like, because people have everybody has a different way of functioning. And when we have that awareness of other people, it's really helpful. And what I really want to kind of circle back to here is when we have that awareness of ourselves as those different creatures in the world, then it stops being about the world making sense to you, and it starts being about you making sense to you, and starting to see you as starting to see yourself as a different creature who has unique awareness about a different possibility in the world. And so if we go back to where I started with this, which is about this piece about how much change is going on in the world right now, so much transition. And, there's a whole massive political thing happening in the United States, presidential election coming up in November, and Robert F. Kennedy. I just, I'm really excited about him. And I just kind of acknowledging that he is disrupting something. He's disrupting the status quo. And it is not easy when you are somebody who does that. no matter what the arena is, what the venue is, who you are, how you do it. When you disrupt the status quo, you're bringing your difference to the table, and it usually is not easy. Because the systems and the structures, the structures and that like scaffolding that has been put in place to like hold everything up, and then you like patch it, you like put an extra support in over here because this side is kind of melting, and then you have to like bolster it over here and then like bolster it here, and and it's like before you know it, you have this really makeshift structure that never worked to begin with and has been band-aided and like scaffolded and augmented and over time to hopefully work, and then it just gets to a point where you have to go, what, this is actually like, this building needs to be leveled, this is falling apart, and this building needs to be leveled, and we need to just start over. And so I would say for me, my awareness is there's a lot of that happening in the world right now, things that need to be leveled and things that are being leveled. And part of what's occurring with that is because there are people that are stepping up, being different, disrupting different structures, disrupting different universes, and people are stepping up to do something different and be something different. It's like, it creates these ripples, and we have to be so sort of like, secure in ourselves in a way, like so self-assured, self-confident, self-knowing, and have what I would say I would like to call intimacy with ourselves, a sense of honoring ourselves, trusting ourselves, having vulnerability, gratitude, and no judgment for ourselves. And when we have those elements, it's easier to bring ourselves to the world in a different way. Linda's saying here on the side comment, I remember you encouraging me to stick my neck out and do something I had no business doing. Yes. And that's the thing, is it takes an incredible amount of courage to do that. And it's like, I know for me, I feel like sometimes I can't not. And yet sometimes I'm like, gosh, I really wish I could just be okay with how things are. My life would be so much easier, except no, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't at all. It would be I would die. I would wither away and die. So that's not actually the case. But sometimes it can be very alluring to look at people who are asleep and go, oh, well, that would be really nice if I could just sleep, but that's probably, if you're listening to this still, that's not what you came here to do and be. And what is it that your being is calling you forward to create in the world? What is it that your body is calling you forward to create? Like, what are you here for? What are you after? What do you know when you look at the structures and the how the world is created that has never made sense to you? What do you know about that? And because the discrepancy that we feel on the inside when we look at stuff that doesn't make sense on the outside, instead of just chalking it up to, I'm wrong, so therefore that solves all of that, I'm wrong, and let me figure out how to fix me, instead of dealing with that insanity called the rest of the world. Let me just figure out how to fix me. So we get to work trying to fix ourselves, and that never works, because you're not broken to begin with. You're actually brilliant to begin with. So we go about our days, we go about our lives, trying to resolve this issue of wrongness that we feel that we have and that we are. And it doesn't ever work, because we're barking up the wrong tree. You're not wrong, you're brilliant. 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 Maybe I should pose that as a question. What if you're not wrong? What if you're brilliant? And as you see the world and you see ripples in things and you see places where things don't make sense, and you're like, that, I feel very wonky when I look at this. Perhaps that is your awareness, and your awareness of something that isn't correct, isn't right, is off in some way. And we're so used to and so good at going inside and going, I'm wrong. Let me resolve this. Let me figure out how to get out of the wrongness. We're so used to doing that it's like our habitual, it's our habit. That's where we go. That's how we do it. Like, that's what we do, is we just go to, okay, I need to just, handle me, and then it will all be okay out there in the world. And what I would really like to invite all of us to is way more of, you know what? The world is the thing that actually needs to be changed, not me. And starting to turn the tables on the rest of the world, because the structures that be the, governments and all that kind of stuff, and all the, all the things, all the ways that things get conveyed technologically, we have so many systems now for our structures for how to communicate and convey things. And that, all of that is, it's all going to continually invite us back to the wrongness of ourselves. That's what the AI is going to do. That's what, it's just like this huge gaslighting that happens in the world for people that are willing to look at themselves. It's like, oh, you're willing to consider that you might be wrong? Well, then you are. You're just wrong. And don't ever, like, be so powerful that you could actually change stuff. And the thing is when the seekers of the world, the people who have a different awareness, the people who are committed to kindness, committed to a different world, committed to a different reality, committed to a greater world, and creating a future that actually can be, because right now, there isn't much sense of that for a lot of people. When we start to go, no, it's not me that's wrong. This world is a bunch of BS. And these structures are, they need to go now, and we start to dismantle that stuff. And this is where the courage really comes in. And you can do this in so many ways. It doesn't have to be that you're out there running for president, or, tying yourself to a tree so they don't cut it down, or, you don't have to be like on the front lines, politically or whatever. It's more just the absolute commitment in your own world to, I'm not going to be wrong. I'm not going to be wrong. I'm not going to judge me. I'm going to actually care for me. I'm going to honor me. I'm going to allow the world to actually contribute to me. I'm going to live in such a way. I'm going to live the way that I would like to see the world. I'm going to live in such a way that is about the kindness that I know, about the beauty that I know, about the, honoring of others, their differences, this planet, the earth, my body, me. And it really starts with you and your body, you and your body, you and your body. Because if you don't have it with your body, you can't, it's like you and your body, you got to have it with both. But if it's like getting out of that judgment and getting into the absolute tenacity and the commitment to, and the receiving of the possibility that is available, the future that is available. When you wake up every morning committed to that and recommitting to that. And there are days, I have definitely had days lately where I was like, okay, I'm gonna just give up now. I say that because to me, it's important to be real, and to not be like, just, yeah, it's all possibility. Let's just, like, everything's great, No, this is an incredibly courageous path. This is a path that requires so much commitment, so much tenacity. And the funny thing is that there's so much ease available as well, for the choosing. And that, is a bit of a story for another time in a way, because there's just, it having ease is a like living a life of ease is very controversial. It's not a popular way of living. You might have noticed that. Like basically nobody in the world has ease. And so when you choose to have that, and the funny thing is it's what we all desire, but it's not readily available. And when you start to choose it, there will be a million things to distract you and a million things like in your way and in the way that will be there perfectly poised to derail you from the choice of that. And so it's this weird kind of like, ease, like I think Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, I think he did a call I don't know, a year or two ago. It was called Ease is So Hard. And that's kind of I've used that many times as like a joke and a motto and whatever. Ease is so hard. It's hilarious when you look at it like that. And yet choosing to have a life of ease is actually something that I've actually had to fight for. It's so strange. And I'm like, I don't even understand why. Like ease actually could totally be available to all of us. Like it makes so much sense. Everything would just be actually easier. Ha ha ha. But like it's what we do, the structures that we have created as a world, like that's what's hard, and nobody seems to really be interested in that conversation, because if you have a life of ease, you're not valuable. You can't prove your value based on how hard you work. You can't prove, like right now, it's like we live in a world where if you work hard, that's how you prove your value. And that's how you prove that you deserve, what it is that you have. And even if you don't have all the things that you would like to have, at least you're working for it, And there's such a different way of doing things that has so much more relaxation to it, more acknowledgement of us, more, willingness to be different. And the everything is set up to not allow that, because you living a life of ease and having a life of ease would actually invalidate like most people in your life. And it would invalidate all of the structures of the world and how things are set up, because it's not set up for ease. And you can look at government systems and all those different things. It's like none of that is set up to facilitate ease, And I'm like, my little sidebar a few minutes ago of talking about what I got my degree in with design and architecture and stuff. It's like I got a freaking degree in creating ease for people back in 1993, which is hilarious. I never looked at it like that. So that's kind of fun. But that's something I've been interested in my whole life. And the world is just like, nope, 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 no, and then the closer you get to that in your own life, the more these structures like rear their heads and we, implode upon ourselves and we get in our own way and other people try to mess with us and there's judgment and there's roadblocks and all these things. And it's like, the more that stuff shows up to stop the forward movement of that, because it's not the design of the world. And the design of the world doesn't make sense. And I don't think that there's anybody like that. I think it would be very difficult to find maybe anybody. I'm not sure. And maybe I'll take a poll of people in the world right now that actually have a sense that our future is going in a great direction. Like, I don't think there's really anybody on the planet that feels like the future of the planet is actually, it's going in a fantastic direction. This is the thing, is when you're on the trajectory, toward a future, barreling full speed ahead toward a future of destruction, diminishment, lack of ease, sickness, illness, poverty, all these things that are like rearing their heads right now for people in a big way. When you're barreling full speed ahead, in that direction. And that is so not your reality, doesn't make sense to you, not true for you. But you're on the train, and you're like, hold on a second, it can seem like, how do you jump off of a speeding train? How do you derail the train? Well, enough people jump ship, jump train, and that can occur. And everybody does it in their own way. And it's not like you're all going to hold hands and jump and land at the same time. You have to do what's true for you and know what's true for you. And we have to let things fall apart. And I would say that where we are in this moment is that, it's like there's enough of us, there's this momentum in the world where there's enough of us that are basically, this is getting too out of hand here. Like, there's too many lies, too much corruption, too much power grabbing, too much invalidation, too much sickness, poverty, illness, anger, rage, fury, hate, all those things. Like, there's way too much of that right now. So we are going to like, that's not happening, not in my world. And for me, it's always been like, not on my planet. Like, this is my planet. I mean, I'll share it with you guys if you're nice, but it's like, I look outside at the trees and I'm like, yeah, those are my trees, I mean, they're in my yard too, but but actually I really belong to them. But it's like, this is a planet that requires us to tend to it, and we are part of it. And if we destroy ourselves with judgment, diminishment, and the refusal to create a different future, then that's, the earth is on that trajectory as well. Although the earth has a much greater capacity to survive than we do. Like, the earth doesn't need us by any means. We do need the earth. It doesn't need us though. Like, so let's just be clear on that, like, we're not the dominant ones here. We are definitely can be shaken off at any moment, and the earth will just keep doing its thing and evolving, be like, I'm going to get rid of the sickness in this process of evolution called people, and that can happen, and it may, and for me, I'm like, not on my watch, like, not on my planet. I came here to enjoy this planet. I came here to enjoy beautiful people, kind people, people that are willing to have a different reality and a different future. I came here to enjoy that. And that's what I would actually like to be doing. And if I've realized lately that there is some part of me that's been sort of like waiting, for that to be the case so I can start to live that. And that's not how it works. It's about each one of us living it now, living it right now. And that substantiates that as a reality in the world that is just so different. And that, everything becomes different and greater when each one of us begins to function from that, and to recognize that when you see things in the world that don't make sense to you, it's not because you're messed up. It's because the world is created upon a foundation of so many lies, so much abuse and invalidation, and so many things that are designed to keep people under control, limited, and not free. And it's not about conspiracy anything. It's about, let's acknowledge what is that, and each of us has a different awareness of that. And let's choose something different with that. And the only way that we can do that is by choosing with ourselves. And I, I've had some days recently of like, where I actually just kind of felt like I needed to allow myself to succumb to, I don't know, almost kind of like depression, even though I knew it wasn't really mine. But just kind of like, I give up. Like, I'm so tired of doing what I think, I'm just tired of working so freaking hard. And so I'm gonna just give up here, like, just for today. I just need to give up for today. And I've given myself the space to do that. I've given myself, it's been 10 days or so of just me being like, I don't have to do anything ever again. I don't have to ever do anything ever again if I don't want to. Knowing full well that would never work for me. But sometimes we have to let ourselves go there. And also this sense of like, and all this change that I've been trying to affect in the world, it may not work. It may not happen. It may not show up the way that I would like it to, or have hoped that it would. And okay, I need to be honest with myself about that. And I need to just let myself kind of wallow for a moment in that. And it's been such a beautiful process, because I've really gotten to see what occurs and how much kind of like death is right there at the ready to come on in. You crack your door open a tiny bit and it'll just come on in, because that's what the world, like the strange structures and AI and all that crazy shit in the world, like that's where it would like to usher us. And so you crack it open, the door a tiny bit, and it'll just avalanche in. And sometimes it can be really helpful to just let yourself go there and go, okay, well, let's see, And I feel like in some way that's part of what I've done in the past 10 days is just go, okay, well, let me stop avoiding everything that I've been avoiding and just let myself, take it all down to the, to the nothing. And it's been such a beautiful process, because I'm finding me so much more than I ever have before, and what's true for me. And it's like, okay, kind of dusting myself off. And this is part of why I wanted to go live today. And it's also like, I'm just so grateful because, I do have things like this podcast that I am committed to doing every Wednesday at noon Pacific time. We post it, and today you get the bonus of the live video. And, every Monday and Thursday, we have videos on my YouTube channel that go live. Hey, Rachel. And so it's like, there's something about that. And like this morning I was facilitating a call with, I do like a 6-month business coaching program. And it was so great to actually have to facilitate, because I've been so quiet and so silent the past 10 days. And to actually like show up with people and, find out what was going on in their world and contribute to them and have some conversations that opened up so much for me. And I was like, wow, it just gave me so much awareness. And so I think that's why I've never stopped having these conversations. And I've been doing it in lots of different ways over the past 14 years or so, is, showing up to have these conversations, even when I don't freaking feel like it. And today, yesterday I didn't feel like it. I was like, well, I'll just go live and then I'll have to. So here I am forcing myself. And it's been such a gift to be here with all of you and to be having these conversations. These are conversations that we need to be having. And it can feel so alone. We can feel so alone sometimes. And I have definitely felt that many times in my life and many times in the past 10 days, many times. And to feel like, God, I don't know if this is going to actually work. I don't know if we're going to be able to change the world. I don't know if the good guys are going to win, and it's like, the beauty of it is, for me, it's like, well, what else am I going to do? Give up, And I let myself, let myself have the luxury of kind of, entertaining that, let's say. And it's like, no, I actually don't want to give up. I want to surround myself with beautiful people and beautiful experiences and a beautiful life and living, and have something really different than what the rest of the world thinks, is the only thing that they can have, and invite people to that as well, and everybody has their path, everybody has their choice, everybody has their reality. And I just want to really encourage whoever is listening, and thank you all for who, of you who are now and in the future, that you living your life as with ease and with joy and with glory, with ease and with joy and with glory. That is a choice to go down in the history books of epic proportion. And you may not be running for president, and you may not be, whatever, like on the front lines of, protests and whatever. But you choosing to live in a different way, not going ever, what would it take, but not going ever to the wrongness of you, but actually recognizing that you are a force and a source of a different possibility and a different reality. And that's the actualization of that starts with you not seeing yourself as wrong anymore. And allowing the beauty of you, the kindness of you, the elegance, the ease, the joy, the humor, the, sassiness, the intensity, the, whatever it is that you've decided is wrong, the vulnerability of you, the lack of ability to function according to the rest of the world, that's a gift. That's a freaking gift. And you living that is the gift. It is the biggest gift that you can give to the world. And let's not diminish that, because if we don't acknowledge that for ourselves, it dies on the vine. And I say that from experience, because there are so many times where it's like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not changing enough. There's not enough showing up. Not enough people, not enough. And that is one of the biggest ways that we kill possibility. And sometimes, you just want to go there and kind of roll around in your own shit and do it. If you need to do it, do it. I certainly have needed to do it in the past 10 days. I really have. And it's been a gift. And, I'm sure I will again, maybe even this afternoon, who knows? But, we get back on the horse and we brush ourselves off and we go, you know what? I mean, for me, all I have to do is look at the trees and go, that's why I'm here, is the trees, and you beautiful people here with me now. That's why I'm here. And I don't care if there's only 3 of us or 8 of us or 1,000 of us or, whatever it is. I don't care. This is what I'm here for. And I can't, if I diminish it, if I judge me, nobody gets to have that gift. Nobody gets to have the gift of me, the gift of us, the gift of this possibility, because I kill it with my judgment. And so I hope this has been a contribution to you. Kind of felt like, I definitely needed a pep talk today. And my sense was from so many people that I've been hearing from, gosh, there's just so much, there's so much crumbling right now. And just please remind yourself that when things feel like they're falling apart, it's because the very structures upon which we have built everything that never worked for us to begin with are falling apart, and that is a really good thing. It's a really good thing. We just happen to have hung up our hat on those structures, a little, just, well, period. But like we've bought into them and we've invested in them because we thought we had to in order to make our lives work. And so as they're crumbling, because they really need to be, and it's time and it's appropriate, and we're even contributing to that with what we're doing. As they're crumbling, those places where you've been relying upon those structures for your life to work, those places are going to crumble. And the beauty is what you can create from there. That has so much more to do with what's true for you, rather than trying to fit into the rest of this world. And please don't fit into the rest of the world. This world is so boring and uninteresting and unkind and abusive. And let's let it die the death that it deserves. Let's just let it die the death that it deserves, while we rise in kindness to ourselves, to our bodies, and to each other. And before I start crying, I'm going to go. So thank you guys for being here. Please share this. Please share this. I really would like for this conversation to be in the world more. And it'll be posted on my podcast once we get it all processed and whatever. And just thank you for being here and your energetic contribution to this conversation. Thank you. Thank you for being different. Thank you for being you. And truly, it is our time to shine, to thrive, and to have the beauty that we know is possible. And let's do it. Let's have it. Let's go for it. And if there's any way that I can contribute to you in any way, please let me know. Reach out, social media, whatever. That's one of the things that I really enjoy doing. And that's what we're here for with each other. So thank you all so much. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.